everyone, it is time for another video from this page from Magical Jungle by Johanna Basford in the weekly planner. Now I thought we only had 2 sets of leaves left, but these 2 and this one don't have to be the same, but also those 2 look a little bit different to these 2, so we could do them a few different ways, but that's fine. I'm trying to use all the different greens in the leaves and not necessarily all greens, as you can see from some of these down here, so we'll see how it all goes. I'm trying to decide where to start. I think we might just start with these 2. Why not? Let's come in a little closer and have a look. Now they are quite big, and I do find in Magical Jungle some of the big leaves can feel a little bit daunting. I think I'm going to try and make it nice and easy. I'm going to just start with a base colour with a complete spread of that colour, and I'm going to grab the May Green, a nice light colour to start with, and just start colouring really. So I am trying to work out what that is there. I think there's another leaf behind this one. There's a few lines down here, so I might have to remember if I don't remember, I might not remember to colour that one in. I'm not sure what colour really, but anyway, because this is a sort of part of a page, isn't it? So we don't have the complete, but it's fine, it doesn't matter. It seems to work out quite well, this sort of cropped area. I sort of wish they did more of this in the planner, you know, just cropped a little bit rather than shrinking a whole page. Sometimes it's easier to just have a cropped image, but obviously some images crop better than others. It depends on the image. Anyway, hope everyone's doing okay today. I just heard my son cough. One of my sons got a cold. He's feeling a little bit poorly today, but he's got to go into uni anyway because he missed the class last week because he had a very sore leg. He couldn't really walk, so he knows he's got to go in, but he'll be okay. And my other son's got a sore foot. He's sprained his ankle, so his dad's going to take him in. Luckily his dad's off this week, so he's going to take him in, and then he'll have to get himself back home. So my husband was sort of saying, should we go to the museum and do so and so today, but he's going to have to, because he's taking my son to uni. It sort of cuts into the day a little bit, but it's okay because I wasn't actually planning on going to the museum today. There's an exhibition that we want to see, that an ex-neighbour of ours has put together, so that will be interesting. Now this is quite messy. It wasn't intending for it to be messy, but I can tidy it up a bit later. I'm going to sort of just get this initial colour down and then add other colours to it, and then I can sort of do some blending and hopefully tidy it up a little bit. We'll just see how it goes really. Yeah, it's a sort of our we have an afternoon together. Normally this is my afternoon on my own, but because husband's off work, then we've got the afternoon together. But he's got some cooking to do, and that usually takes him a couple of hours, so I suspect I won't see much of him unless I sit with him when he's cooking, but I don't know. I guess I could take some colouring things down to the kitchen, but I'm not sure. He hasn't been able to take his his ADHD meds this morning because he's running low, so I don't know if he'll want me. He might find that if I'm in the kitchen it'll be too distracting because he won't be able to focus so easily, so might be best if I don't disturb him. Have a think. Now I am not sure if I've used the chrome oxide green yet, so I'm going to use it now. I'm going to do the ends of the leaves with this. That one we can't. I'm going to put a little bit there, just sort of taper it off like that, because we can't see where the leaf ends. I'm not entirely sure, so I don't know if you can really see what I'm doing. Just a little bit. Whereas this one, because we can see the end, more intense colour on the end. and then just sort of start to fade it in. Oh, it's a train going by. It's reassuring. Yesterday we had a tree on the line, so my son couldn't get in, and then he got a bus in, and then he couldn't get back because they weren't running, the trains needed repairing or something. So I sometimes wonder, it said, you know, more trains than usual needed a repair at the same time. And I'm wondering whether, because they'd already disrupted that line in the morning, they might have assumed people had driven or got a bus in so that it would be less busy. So they cancelled the trains on the same route as they'd already cancelled them on that morning. That's my sort of theory. I don't know whether there's any logic to it, to be honest. So he had to get a lift home. But because of his sore ankle, it's a good idea. And he's going to get a lift in today but get a train home, because certain times, like rush hour, is quite hard to get him over there. So as he's going in at lunchtime and coming home at rush hour, then he'd get a lift in, whereas yesterday it was the other way round. He was going in at first thing and coming home at lunchtime. It's all quite complicated. But anyway, but he's got to go in tomorrow as well, first thing, so I expect he won't be able to get a lift in first thing, but he might be able to be picked up. And then he's got Thursday off, and hopefully by Friday he'll be feeling a bit better. I got him some sort of gel, which is ibuprofen type gel, which is supposed to stop the pain a bit and things like that. But he refuses to do any of the other treatments, which you're supposed to keep it raised up, and you're supposed to put ice on it, and we're still looking quite scruffy. I'm going to use the permanent green olive to try to blend that in together a little bit better. Yeah, rest. He can't, you know, he's resting as much as he can, although he insisted on helping me with cooking the tea last night. I kept telling him to just stand on one leg or something. It was very kind of him though. And he so he's been resting up no, he hasn't really been resting up. He's been getting a lift. That's, I guess that's resting it a bit, because he's not walking as much. And he has refused to ice it because it's too cold. And he wouldn't wear he's supposed to use compression, but he refuses to wear the bandage, I thought. But anyway, we'll see. It's like his father and his brother. They just want to go for the easy, comfortable options rather than the ones that want to try everything. But never mind. But I tried. Yeah, I guess it's like this podcast I was listening to the other day, which was Mel Robbins and Dr. Chatterjee. Now, I wasn't very sure about Mel Robbins. I know she's really popular, but I felt that some of the things she was saying seemed a little bit blunt and quite difficult. But I understand where she's coming from, that you need to sort of look after yourself first. And if you can't control everybody else, so you need to stop trying to do that. But it's so hard when you're a mother to, you know, you want to try and help everybody, you know. No, I realise I can't. But if I make suggestions, they tend to do it. So it's hard, isn't it? But, and also to just say, oh well, if they don't want to, if they decide to do that, I'll just, you know, let them. And it's like, I can't, you know, if they choose not to write their assignment, can I just let them? No, because I know they're going to really regret it. It's really difficult. I mean, I can apply it to people I don't know, or people who don't live in my household, but you know. Now we're going to go with the earth green yellowish, and bring it much closer to the centre area. And now it's looking a lot neater, I think anyway, because we've got layers of colour and it's all sort of building up and being more blended, which is good. Yeah, I've got a bit of a spanner in the works today by ordering something. I had an email saying it was coming today by Royal Mail, but I'm not convinced it is going to be. It was a 48-hour tract and I ordered it yesterday, and I got an email from Royal Mail saying it is arriving today, but I can't see how it would be because it's 48-hour tract, not 24-hour tract. And I looked at the tracking and it said it was I'm trying to think where it is. It's in a different county to here still. Somewhere I can't think where that county is. I'm trying to think. It's about 3 counties away, which is quite a significant way, really. I mean, I know we're a small country, but it has to travel by road, so I'm not convinced it's coming today. So I will have a look. But also, if it's by Royal Mail and they take it back to the sorting office, then you can either ask for redelivery or I can go and collect it, so it's not a biggie. And they might leave it with a neighbour if anyone's in. I'm not sure if they will be. Now we're going to go back to our original May green and just finish this off to another layer. And yeah, I know we haven't done these bits. We will. We'll do them with a darker colour and then they stand out. I felt it's easier to keep it really neat if you don't colour around them. So we can colour over them and then use the darker colour. I have to decide what colour in a minute. Now I'm not going over everything with this. I'm just doing what I think needs it. And how am I choosing? Well, bits that look a little bit pale, a little bit scruffy, that sort of thing. Now where these are overlapping here, you can put a bit of shadow around them to make them look a bit more three-dimensional. Now I haven't done that with any of the other leaves, so I feel that if I suddenly did it with these, it would be a little bit weird. So either I go and do it on all of them, or I do it on none of them. And at the moment my thought is none, and I may change my mind. What I'm going to do is use that chrome oxide green that we use for our darkest to fill in this line and these little bits. I don't know what these leaves really look like, whether this is the right way to colour them, but I don't even know whether those bits are holes in the leaf, you know, like a cheese plant, or whether they're actually supposed to be markings. But I don't think it's a problem either way. You can do it your way. Well, you can't make it a hole now that you've coloured over it. If you haven't coloured it yet, you could. As I say, I find it much easier to colour over it. And actually, this leaf here, coming behind here, you would see it through that. That would make it quite complicated. Now I remember doing a similar picture to this. Actually, I didn't remember it until I was looking on my... I can do this leaf here while I remember it. I'm just going to grab the earth green, just so it looks quite different to this one. I'm just going to sort of colour it. Yeah, I was looking through some videos and I found one that looked really similar to this, and I think it may have been maybe the other side of the page in a previous video or something. I don't know, but it was interesting. Now we have these two. Now I'm wondering whether to use the earth green. No, probably not. Could do though. Yeah, let's do it. I'm arguing with myself. Just let me argue for a minute. Earth green. I think I'm going to do the same as this and colour it all in this colour first. However, we're going to do it a little bit more carefully and slowly because I don't want to then add lots of other shades. Okay, this is just going to be this colour. So I'm going to again go over this because we'll go over that again. But I'm going to put down quite a few layers here at the bottom because I want this to be quite dark. And then I'm going to just start to fade it a little bit as we go upwards, hopefully. About now, I'll just start to do a few less layers. But I want to try to keep it as neat as I can so that I don't have to go over it again. We'll see how that pans out. How do you keep it neat? Don't know really. Slowly. Try and be even. That's hard. And when you've done it, have a look and go back over it a little bit until it just looks how you hoped it might look, like that. So I can see it's darker here than here. There's a bit of streakiness about it, but not too much. And I'm okay with that. I'm going to do the same with this one. So this one's going to be fairly quick as well. These two leaves will be a lot quicker than these because we're not putting as many different colours on. I don't think they'll look as nice, but it's, you know, it's just a different way that you can do it. It's quite nice, I think, showing you different methods so that you can choose how to do it, depending on whether you want to spend ages with lots of different colours or whether you'd rather just use one and be quite quick. Now that's a bit messy, so we're going to go back down here. Just put small layers down. And the idea is here I'm looking for gaps like there, where it looks a bit like I've missed too much, to try and make it look reasonably even. That's not bad. And then we're going to use the juniper green to fill in all the markings excuse me, on the leaf. I also think earth green and juniper green pair together really nicely. They just seem to be a similar shade, should we say. I don't know if that's the right word. I never know whether it's tone, shade, colour. I don't know the right words, having not been to art college. Sometimes I think art college might be fun, but then I realise if you do your art foundation course, you have to try out, you have to do every sort of medium, so I don't know if I would like that very much. My nephew's actually doing art GCSE at the moment, and they're doing lino printing and collage, neither of which... I remember doing lino printing at school actually. We had a sort of polystyrene tile and we had to draw a plant, a flower of some sort, and then sort of cut it out of the tile and then print with it. It was different because my drawing wasn't very good. The plant actually was quite easy because it just had tiny little teardrop shaped leaves and flowers like this, so it was reasonably easy to draw. This is my permanent green. These leaves I'm going to do in a slightly different way just for interest's sake. So I'm going to do my darkest green down the edge of the central stem. We could have done a stripy effect like we did here, but because we haven't got any more leaves, I can't show you this technique with any others, so I'll show it you here. I mean, it's nothing spectacularly amazing, but it's just a little bit of a different idea if you want to try something different. So here I'm going to just fade it out like this towards the outside. It's just a slightly different direction like that. We'll get a different colour in a bit, a different green. Now I think I'm going to have to do these veins in a non-green, or else it's going to look a little bit odd. Everything else is green up here, but we'll get there. Yeah, so because the flowers are fairly easy to draw, and therefore, but by the time we had, I think the teacher brought in some flowers in a vase, and we were supposed to draw them. Mine wasn't particularly, he told me off for not drawing what I was seeing, because I think this is where my problems with visualizing sort of, you know, didn't help me, because I didn't keep looking back at it enough times. So I tried to hold the image in my head and then just go for it, and of course I couldn't do that, so I ended up guessing and it wasn't right. But anyway, drew it, engraved it, and then we would stamp it, sort of thing. We had a little roller, would roll over the top of it. It was yeah, I think you trying to remember, but I think you roll in the ink. You don't stamp it, that's wrong. You roll it in the ink, and then roll it onto the tile, and then put it over, and then roll over the back of the tile with a different roller, obviously. Then you get your sort of print. This is leaf green, and I remember that being quite fun. But my sister's doing it with her son, because he's homeschooled, so she's sort of, although he's going to an art class, you know, he's having to do, it's an online course, it's having to do it at home, so she's helping him with it. And she said they've only got one roller at the moment, so he's using like a jar or something, or tin, I can't remember, to do the second part, you know, to pick up the ink. He's using his actual roller, and then when he tries to go over the back, he uses like a jar. But she said it's not so good. I don't know why. I would think it might be better, because it could be quite heavy. I don't know, maybe that is a problem. Who knows? I haven't tried it, so I don't know, but it sounds like fun. I'll have to ask him about it when I see him. When am I going to be seeing him? Yeah, in March. Grass green. So we're going to finish now. So I'm going to go over I'm going to try not to go right into the centre, because I don't want to dull down that, or lighten up, really, that central part. But I'll just brighten this edge. So you can put it down quite thickly on the edge, and then just gently bring it into the centre, so you can see a bit of a difference, hopefully, in the colour. But she's a little bit concerned about him because he doesn't draw. But of course, artists don't have to draw. But for the GCSE, I don't know if there'll be an expectation to draw for the final project. I don't know what sort of thing they'll have to do. I know my niece did a drawing for hers. She took a photo and drew it. But hers was interesting because the drawing was good, but she only coloured in a bit of it. I don't know if she used paint or pencils, I can't remember. And I think she lost marks because of that, because she said she ran out of time, but I think she could have done it in a way that made it look like she purposely only coloured some of it. I'm going to use the walnut brown for these stalky bits, but I think it just looked a little bit random, because I think she coloured like one, it was a picture of her and her brother, and I think she only coloured his clothes. I think she coloured just both of their clothes or something like that. It might have worked better. Right, this leaf, although it's very similar to these, I think we'll do it differently just because we can. I think we'll use some non-greens, just so we've got something that isn't green in this corner, because we've got so much green going on all around here. I'm just trying to think where to start. I think I'm going to start with a slightly reddish, not too reddish because our plant's red. Let's go with a bit of a terracotta and just use a tad of this. So here's our terracotta, and we'll just use it right on the tips of the leaves. So some of them won't have any because we can't see the leaf tips, but we'll do that sort of thing. Oh, trying not to go out of the lines, but hey ho. that. Now this one, just do a little bit like that. And because I'm fading it from the edge in, then these are going to be fainter because we can't see the tip. That makes sense. Now I haven't gone that dark. I don't want it that orangey. I'm going to go over this whole bit. So it doesn't matter that we've got white paper showing through and that sort of thing. Even that doesn't always matter anyway. Maybe a bit more there. Just a tad there. Mr. Parrot. I was going to do him as a macaw, but I haven't got a picture of a macaw, so I'm not sure. I could do him as a grey galah. Right, so that is that bit. Now I'm going to move on to a yellowy. I think I might, yeah. I'm thinking they'd like yellow ochre. Might work. And I think I'm going to take this to the sort of just beyond the end of the leaf. So I'm going to go over the base as well, or the tip, sorry, and into there. Like that. I could have used a green gold, I guess, but I didn't. Just take the colour gently in. I'm not going overly hard. I haven't completely decided how I want it to look, to be honest. But and then I've got to decide on my next colour. So I could go dark in this as if it's sunk in. I think I'm going to use this Naples yellow first and then have a think. Or have a ponder as I go. It's nice to sort of add some brightness, and I'm just going to actually put it over everything and see how it looks, and then decide whether I need anything else. So we can cover it, we can go over it with something if it's necessary. It might not be. The sun is shining this morning, just noticed. Don't know why I didn't notice before. Makes a change from all the rain we were having. How are we doing for time? That's fine. I just got to keep an eye on the time because my boy's got to get ready to go to uni. One of them, they both start at 1:15. The one that's getting a lift from his dad can leave at 12:15. The one that's having to get the train, because they're in different campuses, different towns, so they can't both have a lift, will have to get ready to leave at 11:20, so an hour earlier, because he's got to walk to the station, get the train and walk from the station at the other end. So he's got quite the trek. I think he would have appreciated a lift really, but he knows that it's not an option. He realises his dad can't be in two places at once, and his brother's need is greater. Right, I think that's looking quite nice. I'm just going to sort of layer up a little bit. Yeah, okay. Now we've got a butterfly down here. We've got these three, and then we've got our parrot. And I'm going to do a little bit of something with the background, really simple. Parrot. We could go red. And it would sort of balance this red down here. Yeah, So I'm just going to mark on some black. Like I said, I'm going red, but because let's just sharpen this black. Now I'm thinking this bit here on the beak and this bit up here black, and then I'm thinking also this bit here. Then I'm going to grab a red. Now what I want is a mid-red, so I think this one in, yeah, the deep red. It's quite a nice one. It's not too pinky, not too orangey. Should I come in a tad closer? There we go. Now I'm going to make this up. If you want to go and look up a picture of a parrot and copy one, by all means do. But I'm just going to make it up. So I'm going to do it mainly red, but I'm going to do a bit of yellow as well. I don't know why. So this bit, I'm sure my brain is telling me there are parrots that are red and yellow. But as I said, I've got nothing in here to look it up. I'm just winging it. Ha ha! She's so funny. Right, so there is this sort of tummy bit and head. Now I'm thinking maybe I'll do the tail feathers in this colour next. I'm thinking it might be a bit darker there. If we make them lighter there, it might make them look a bit shiny. It might make them look a bit rubbish. I'm just going to try because I can always layer up. I think that's okay. I don't want them to look like they've got a bit of a shine to them. Now these I thought I'd do in a slightly different shade of red. We could go to the dark red. It's quite a lot darker. And then it will look slightly different. So this feather here, for example, I'm going to fade it down to the tip a little bit. Just for interest's sake, really. And the same with these. That line I'm going to leave. I'm going to do that in yellow. So just fading each one down. I just started thinking about what I'm going to do for my next video series. How distracted. I've got a morning one to record next. I'm going to do something from the March, from Tiny Year March, some March pictures. I think they're mainly sort of florals, which will be nice. There's that. Now we're going to grab a yellow. I'm going to use a different yellow to the ones that I used for this flower plant because we're right near it. So I think we actually need something that isn't orangey. So I'm going to go for this light chrome yellow and see how that works out. This comb, yeah, it needs to look different, which fortunately that does. And this bit here, and then that line I'm going to sharpen it. I've just noticed that I've missed this little bit here. I wonder what colour that was. That's like phthalo green, isn't it? What did I use with it? I'm going to have a look in my book. I know I need to use beak. I don't tend to always write the colours next to each other that I did together. I've put chrome, green firing. Yeah, I think it might be this one. The chrome oxide green fiery. Oh yeah, it is. Phew. That was lucky. Right. Let's just move some pencils away. Sorry. The beak, I'm going to do it in grey. Now it's also quite tempting to do it in like yellow because it looks quite nice, but I think the beaks tend not to be that colour. But so I'm going to use the cold grey 5. Also it will look different to the other yellows we've got here. I'm going to try and make it darker on the edge, a little bit lighter in the middle, as if it's got a bit of a shine. think beaks tend to have a bit of a shine like that. There we go. Now our butterflies, we've got these three, we've got one further down. I'm going to do all their bodies in the same colour. I think it's just a little bit easier. So I'm going to use my warm grey 4. I'm just going to sharpen it and do all their bodies the same, but we're not going to do their wings all the same. So it's just, so I'm going to try to put a bit more around the outside of the body compared to the centre. But like that, and then we've got this little one down here as well. I'm just trying to see if any of them are the same as each other, but they're not. So we'll just treat each one separately. So this one I quite like to do in a sort of turquoisey type colour. I'll show you. I tend to do butterflies quite often in similar sorts of colours, but we'll see. This is helio turquoise, and I'm going to use it here. Fade it off, can you see what I'm doing? And then again on the tip, like that, and sort of fade it in. Okay, same on this wing. So we've got a white bit in the middle. And then we grab this, the light phthalo green, and we put it in the space. The best way to do this is to start off dark here and then put a lighter bit there. And we've got a sort of shiny looking, hopefully, slightly pretty butterfly. So that's number 1. I'm not going to put any dots or anything on him. This one's got quite a few dots on it. I'm going to do those dots in black, but we're going to colour it first and then put the black in after. Now I think I'm going to do this one in orange, quite like an orange butterfly. So we're going to start with the dark cadmium orange. And again, like our other one, darker here. But I'm going to start to fade it off, and we're going to use a slightly lighter orange on the tip. Okay. Same with this one. Like that. And then I like, oops, just knocking my pencils everywhere. The cadmium orange to finish it off. So not going right into the centre, starting about halfway, going over that, and then just fading it like that. Now I am pressing quite hard, but we should still be able to get some black into these spaces that I want to make black. If you struggle with that, getting the black in, you can use a pen. It will just be very intense compared to a pencil. There's my black pencil. So we're just going to fill this in, and the dots. Now on this bottom wing, what I think we're supposed to be doing is colouring all this in black. I'm going to do that. You could do it the other way and make the dots black if that's easier for you, or if you prefer it. But I'm trying to do it this way. It's just how I want to do it, really. Excuse me. There we go. I do have a video on my channel about how I colour butterflies in Johanna Basford books, and it's not like a tutorial, this is how to colour a butterfly, but it's here are all the butterflies I've coloured. It's quite an old video, and I'm not going to do any white yet. There will be white markings on here, but because I'm going to do a little bit of pastel in the background, I need to do that first. So we're going to move on to this one, get some purple, well, mauve, and then we'll come back and do white dots if I remember. Mauve, I hope I do. So yes, it's a little, it shows you all the different ways that I've coloured butterflies to give you some ideas. It was a fun video to make, actually. It's been a reasonably popular one. I think there are certain things in books that we struggle to colour. There's one, I've also made one on how I do flower centres, which was quite popular. And I'm going to use the violet to finish it off. Like that. And back to our black to do those lines. There's only a few lines. I'm going to do those in black though. I think if you look at pictures of butterflies, you find they do have quite a lot of black and white on them. So it looks, dare I say, a little more realistic. It's not a realistic picture. Now we have our little one down here. I'm thinking a pink, just to balance out. We've got a bit of pink on the other side, so I thought might just balance it if we use pink. So I'm going to use the fuchsia. And just fade it off a bit like that. There, I can barely see. And then our pink madder lake for the tips. Just going over it as it sort of fades. Oh, struggling. There we go. And then the black again to do the lines. We've got these lines here. I'm going to ignore that line. Just do this one. Right, now I'm just going to move my pencils away a little bit. I've used a lot. Bring my book into the middle, and we're going to do a bit of soft pastel in the background, and then we're going to come in with the white pen. It's looking quite colourful, isn't it? But I want to use a oh, my pencils. I want to use a green, probably, in the background, or sort of to make it look like we've just got more leaves and foliage. So I've got my Mungyo soft pastel. Let's bring those there so you can see what I'm doing. Right, now I'm always very tempted to go for these greens, these sort of olives, because I like them. But I am wondering whether a bright green might just be more lively, if that makes any sense. We do have that sort of colour here, but then we have olives here, so we are going to end up having some colours that are the same as ones we've coloured. I am just going to grab some of this on my cloth, see what it looks like. I'm going to just go for it. Now when you're doing pastel, I've said this many times before, put your fingers on top of a pencil bit that you're not going to pastel over, or use a cloth like this, if you've got a spare one, to hold the page so that you don't get greasy, pencils under my elbow, greasy fingerprints on the page. There probably will be some anyway if you've been handling the pages you've been colouring, but if you can avoid them, and don't put your fingers in the pastel once you put it down. Although, saying that, when I learnt how to do pastel when I was at school, we used to just spread it on the paper with our fingers, but that's a completely different technique. I'm not worrying about getting green on top of this yellow, I'm just going for it. It's quite a faint green colour anyway. Just trying to fill in the gaps a little bit. I don't know how much it's really showing up, but I just want to get rid of this white. It's just too white. I don't really want a really dark, imposing green background. I just want to take away that bright white, if that makes sense. Of course you can just leave it white if you're happy with white, or if you don't have pastels you can use a pencil to do this too, but it would take a long time, and getting it looking even and neat is really difficult with a pencil in the background. I do it sometimes, but as I say, it's not easy. Now, sounds like my husband's helping my son with his work, which is good. Okay, I'm leaving it there. It's really, really faint. Am I? I don't know. I'm going to try a little bit more. There, looks like it's... See, I'm wondering whether to make it patchy, whether to make it a bit darker at the bottom. I think I will do that. So I'm going for a slightly darker green colour now. And I'm going to put a bit of darker green coming up from the bottom. Oops. Let me just hold that there. Like that. So I've got a bit of a darker colour coming up. And I think I'm going to sneeze. Oh, I can also do the same coming down from the top. So, and I think this sort of liney look is quite good. It looks a bit like vines or something like that. Wondering whether to do it right through. I quite like it. I can do it all the way through. You don't have to do this. I'm just having a bit of fun. I feel like a little kiddie playing. Thinking about my art classes or something. I never had this much confidence though in my art lessons. Right, now we're just going to put our white pen on. I'm going to just brush away the loose pastel first, just so that it doesn't clog up my pen if it's sort of hanging around. This is the Jelly Roll 8. We used it for these flowers here. Sorry, this. I'm just going to put the lid on my pastels. I know what I'm like. I'll end up knocking it on the floor or something. There we go. Let's just pop those out of the way. Oh, right, so pen. This is for the butterflies. So, dots, just lots of dots really. And my family have loud voices. I don't know if you can hear my husband's got such a booming voice. It can be quite useful, but I'm just doing dots. Now you can put these dots wherever you want. You can put some on the I'm not putting any on this butterfly. You could put some on the flowers, plants, whatever you want as well, but I'm not. I just want it on the butterflies. Pen doesn't want to work. There we go. There we go. Let's just move that out of the way. There we are. There, I think we are done. It's very colourful, not really how I imagined I was going to do the page, but I'm really pleased with it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and happy colouring.